Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good day. Today we're going to be talking about the games that happened yesterday on February 13th. Some more buyout and waiver wire news, and just go around the league a little bit and just talk about some teams, some positions and standings, things like that. All right. So we're gonna get right into it. We're starting with the games from yesterday. It's a big slate, so let's get right into it. The first one, we had the Rockets in Philly taking on the 76ers, and this game was decided, I feel like, pretty early. The Rockets down 3 after the end of the first. Then the Sixers going to halftime up 7. And just slowly, I feel like every quarter, just slowly, the Sixers just kept building on the lead, building on the lead a little more, a little more, a little more, until we really got to the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the Sixers just blew the game open, even with the bench. It wasn't even the starters like McDaniels, Paul Reed, you know, um, George Niang were all hitting shots, and all of a sudden the lead ballooned to as many as 26 in this game, and the Sixers win 123 to 104. And the big three for Philly really showed up. Harden against his former team, 28 and 10 assists, shooting 50% from the field. Tyrese Maxey was a big factor in this game. He had 26 off the bench, shooting 10 for 16. He was on fire in this game. Then Joel Embiid had 23 points. Man, that was good. The big three for the Sixers really taking off. And the three-point shot was big for Philly. Philly hit 15 threes as a team, shooting 44%, with the Rockets only hit 6 threes, shooting 23%. Rockets. Jalen Green had 29, even though he shot just 6 for 20, but he had 15 free throws. And yeah, Kenyon Martin Jr. 15 and 7. He was dunking all over the place. Love to see that. Jabari Smith Jr. had 10 and 12, shooting 3 for 14. The Sixers really were just in control of this entire game. They also had some injury news though. PJ Tucker only played 7 minutes before leaving with a calf injury. Hopefully it's nothing serious. He's a starter on this team. He's a piece of factor on this team. So hopefully he doesn't miss too much time and he comes back soon. But yeah, just a good win for Philly. The next game we had the Spurs taking on the Cavaliers. Cavaliers coming in on a 6-game winning streak. The Spurs coming in on a 12-game losing streak. So, yeah. The Cavs got off to a very hot start in the first quarter, leading the first quarter 34 to 19 thanks to Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Really. Um, yeah. And Donovan Mitchell was just going off to start this game. And the Cavs were in control for most of the first half. They went to halftime with a 16-point lead. And then we go to the third quarter, and the Spurs actually are like keeping up in the third. They had guys like Malachi Branham, Sohan, um, KDB, Diop were all in shots to bring the lead down to single digits. It was an 8-point lead at one point in the third quarter. Then we go to the fourth quarter, and Blake Wesley was keeping them in the game. Malachi Branham as well, who's had been really good over the last few weeks. When Donovan Mitchell closes his game out, and the Cavs win 117 to 109. Donovan Mitchell finishes with 41 points, his fifth 40-point game of the season, shooting 16 for 26, 6 for 13 from 3. He had a nasty crossover as well, which was nice. But yeah, the Cavs just looked like the better team out there. They rallied together in the fourth, thought the Spurs were going to come back and make this interesting, and they kind of did. But the Cavs seal it away with Donovan Mitchell's help. Jared Allen has 17 and 11 with 3 blocks. Evan Mobley had 15 and 10. Darius Garland has 16 and 7 assists as well in this game. But yeah, the Spurs continue the formula. Spurs continue the formula of let's be competitive but lose at the end. And they're on a 13-game losing streak now, which ties their franchise record back in 1989 when they lost 13 in a row. They lost 13 in a row so far. Keldon Johnson had another 25. They put in Malachi Branham, had a great game, 18 points back home. He played at Ohio State. He came back, he had 18 points on really good shooting. KDB Diop at 14, Devontae Graham at 12. Jimmy Sohan 10 points, shooting 4 for 12 from the field. And the Cavs are now on a 7-game win streak. which they really need because they've been very up and down recently before this win streak started. So they need a little win streak to kind of get their confidence back. The next game was a very high scoring game. The Hawks and the Hornets. Yeah, and then so Hornets get off to a really good start. The Hornets get off to a really good start in this game, up 36-27 at the end of the first quarter. Everyone really was contributing. Start this game. The Hawks make it a game though. Second quarter, their bench really kind of contribute to come back, but the Hornets keep going. The Hornets keep making shots. A double-digit game at one point, but going to halftime with a 6-point lead. Third quarter, the Hornets take over again and win this third quarter 35-28. LaMelo with Terry Rozier taking over in that third quarter. LaMelo was on fire throughout this entire game, I feel like. We go to the fourth quarter. The Hawks are struggling. The Hornets get up to a 17-point lead at one point, but then the Hawks fight back. After the Hornets go up 17 with 9:19 left in the fourth quarter, from that point, the 9:19 mark, to the 2:22 mark, the Hawks outscore the Hornets 30-14. Led by Trae Young, DeJounte, and DeAndre Hunter as well. They cut the lead to 2 points with 2:22 left. The last 2 minutes was very back and forth. You know, the Hawks would hit a shot. Trae Young, Clint Capella would hit a shot, but then the Hornets would come back right back and hit one. And then the deciding factor in this game, it's a 3-point game. Terry Rozier just hit a 3-pointer. Also coming down the other end, Trae Young switched down to Mark Williams. And Trae Young tries to hit a sit-back 3, but Mark Williams, with his length, blocks the shot. And then LaMelo comes down, gets the ball, throws it over to Mark Williams. Mark Williams, Euro step, dunk to seal the game. And the Hornets win 144-138. Very high scoring game. The Hornets shot 63% from the field in this game as a team, shooting 53 for 84. They hit 23, shot 54%. They had 10 more assists than the Hawks. And yeah, it was really just the Hawks outscoring the Hornets outscoring the Hawks, because look at the score. There was a lot of defense in this game. LaMelo had an amazing game, 36 and 15 assists. He's the first player in Charlotte history with 30 points and 15 assists. He had 6 3-pointers. He was doing everything out there tonight. Terry Rozier had 29 points and 5 threes. Gordon Hayward had 26, 5, and 8. And P.J. Washington had 22, 7, and 5. Mark Williams had 15 and 2 blocks. Yeah, the whole starting 5 was really good for the Hornets. And then even Dennis Smith Jr. had 12 off the bench. And yeah, the Hawks, just not a good loss from Atlanta, letting Charlotte score 144 on you. Yeah, that's not good. Trae Young had 25, 14 assists. DeAndre Hunter had 21. Clint Capella had 22 and 7. DeJounte had 20. Saddiq Bey played his first game in Atlanta. He started because John Collins didn't play, and he had 12 points. And then, yeah, Eko Kongwu had 12 and 7, 3 steals, 2 blocks. And Bogdanovich had 11 points off the bench. But Charlotte gets his first win in a while. They're on a little losing streak. They come out and get a win. Still 14th in the East. So, good for them, I guess. The next game we had was the Jazz taking on the Pacers. It was another kind of high-scoring game-ish. Pacers got off to a good start, leading 33-27 at the end of the first. The Jazz come back in the second quarter, outscored the Pacers by 8. Take a 2-point lead at halftime, and the third quarter was very high-scoring. It was really Jordan Clarkson versus Tyrese Halliburton show. Tyrese Halliburton had 13 points in the third quarter. Jordan Clarkson had 15 in the third quarter. The Pacers outscored the Jazz 37-36. And then we go to the fourth quarter, and it's very tight game. But the Jazz start hitting shots, and the Jazz slowly build on a lead, going up by as many as 12 points with 5:25 left. And then from that point, the Indiana Pacers go on a little run. They go on a 12-2 run in 2 minutes to make it a 12-point game to a 2-point game. But then Jordan Clarkson closed this game out, hits a big 3-pointer with 2:05 left to put the Jazz up 5. And then comes back, hits another pull-up jumper to put the Jazz up 54 seconds left, and he hits 2 free throws as well. Then Laurie Marketing hits 2 free throws, and the Jazz close out this game and win 123-117. Yeah, Jordan Clarkson, 29 points. He had 22 in the second half. He had 6 of his 8 threes. Um, Doing what he does well, get buckets. That's what he does. And the Jazz did that. But Larry Markin also had a great game, 29-11 on 50% shooting again. He doesn't shoot bad from the field anymore. Um, yeah, then Kelly Olynyk at 18 and 10, 4 from 3. He was big in this game. Colin Sexton also had 18 points. It's funny because when you look at not even just the box score, but look at the game stats, it looks like the Pacers won this game. I mean, the Pacers forced 18 turnovers. Pacers had 6 more assists, 7 blocks, and 11 steals. They outscored them in points in the paint, 60 to 50. Fast break points, they won 20 to 7. They had 47 bench points to the Jazz 23. Like, it looks like the Pacers won this game, but the Jazz would just hitting shots at the right time. But just clutch shooting that won them this game. For Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton had a great game, 30 points and 12 assists with 3 steals, shooting 12 for 24. His first good game or big scoring night in a little while. Since coming back from injury. And I thought the Pacers were going to win this game because they needed it, but another loss. They lost 16 of their last 18 games. It's just rough in Indiana. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They're 12th right now. Things are looking a little dim for this season in terms of competing wise, but for building wise, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton turned into All-Star. Benedict Mathurin is really good. They got some pieces over there. Speaking of Benedict Mathurin, he had 21 points. Aaron Nesmith had 19 points. Isaiah Jackson had 11 and 5 with 4 blocks. Good things in the future coming for Indiana. But yeah, the Jazz, they're 2-1 since trading Mike Conley away. They're still fighting in the play-in. They're the 10th seed right now. Half game above the Thunder. Maybe they still make the play-in without Mike Conley and trading away all their good role players, I guess. I don't know. The Jazz play hard, I know that, so they're going to be competitive at least, even if they are trying to lose. The next game we have the Nuggets playing the Miami Heat. And this was another very good game. The Heat got off to a good start, leading 36-27 after the end of the first quarter. Jimmy Butler and some of the bench players, kind of building on to a good lead. Go to the second quarter though, and the Nuggets played well in the second quarter. Getting some help from their bench like Jeff Green and Thomas Bryant, who played his actual first minutes in Denver. He played their last game, but he only played at the end of the game. The Nuggets end the second quarter really good, and they go into halftime with a 3-point lead. They outscored Miami 38-26. Go to the third quarter, and it's still a good game. The Heat get off to a good start, taking the lead in this game, but then the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic and Bruce Brown really were helping this Nugget team. They got up to a 10-point lead at one point with 4 minutes left. And the Nuggets just took control from there. Nuggets took control from there on out. Jimmy Butler did miss a layup, though, to make it a 2-point game. And the Nuggets get the win 112-108. Nikola Jokic had another game. 27, 12, and 8, shooting 12 for 14. No turnovers. He was doing what he does. A big thing also was paint points. The Miami Heat give up the fewest paint points in the league. They said they only give up like 45 paint points. Well, the Nuggets have 58 points in the paint and shot very well in the paint. They do 29 for 40. The Nuggets are doing whatever they wanted in the paint. Bench points were also huge for Denver. Miami only really had 8 players in this game. Tyler Hero didn't play. Kyle Lowry didn't play. And so their depth was not good. Their depth already isn't that great as it is. Not to have a lot of those dudes not playing. It was just Miami was just very, limited. Like Jabari Bouye played 28 minutes and had 10 points off the bench. I'm pretty sure no one knows who Jabari Bouye is. But yeah, and then for the Nuggets, they had 3 players score double figures off the bench. Jeff Green had 12, and Christian Brown and Thomas Bryant both had 10. Michael Porter Jr. also has 17 in this game, shooting 6 for 15. Bruce Brown has 16 points. Flacco Conchar started and had 10 points because Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon didn't play again. But yeah, for Miami, Jimmy Butler was near triple-double, 24, 10, and 9. Max Strus had 23 and 7, but he shot just 8 for 20 and 4 for 14 from 3. Then yeah, Bam had 19, and Gabe Vincent had 15. And the Nuggets are the second team in the league this year to get to 40 wins. And then they have a 5-game lead over the Grizzlies in the West, so they're pretty comfortable in there. The next game we had was Battle of New York, Nets and Knicks. And this game was looking like it was going to be set up for a good one. The Knicks led 32-26 at the end of the first. The Nets have a really good second quarter, scoring New York 35-26 with a help from Cam Johnson, who is that? And Cam Thomas and Spencer Dinwiddie as well. Had a good first half. The Nets win at halftime with a 3-point lead, but then the third quarter happens, and Jalen Brunson takes over this game, scoring 17 points in the third quarter. And the Knicks go into the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead, and they just don't look back. The Nets struggle putting the ball in the basket without a real star player, and it's going to happen a lot for the Nets this season because they don't have a real star that can just go to the ball and he can help get a bucket or two. Like, they have to work for their buckets, and the Knicks win this game 124-106. And Jalen Brunson has been beautiful to watch in New York this season. Another 40-point game. He's had the most 40-point games by a point guard in Knicks history. This is Stephon Marbury, which was a very long time ago. So that's how long the Knicks have been looking for a point guard. Brunson's averaging just under 24 points a game now, shooting 48% from the field, 41% from 3, 83% from the free throw line. We're also adding in 3.5 rebounds and 6 assists per game. He's been incredible as a Knick, even more than people expected. I thought he was gonna go to New York and be cool, be good. I'm not saying he was gonna. I didn't think he was gonna be an all-star in all-star conversations, but here we are. He's been incredible. And it's great to see that the Knicks finally get a point guard, someone they love, man. The Knicks fans are in love with Jalen Brunson right now. And he's, and good for reason, he's turning the garden up. But then also Josh Hart. Josh Hart, second game as a Knick, puts up 27 points off the bench, hitting 4 3-pointers. Josh Hart found Jalen Brunson and learned how to score again, I guess. He was incredible in this game, hitting so many big 3-pointers. To add on to the lead, just doing everything good out there. Julius Randle had 18 and 10, and the Mayo quickly had 14 off the bench. RJ Barrett really struggled this game. He only played 24 minutes and had 4 points, shooting 2 for 8 from the field. And RJ has been a little bit of a concern. Last year he showed a lot of potential, especially the second half of the season. He showed a lot of potential, maybe taking over as the Knicks' #1 guy. And then the Knicks paid him a max contract basically over the summer because they thought as well that he could turn into the guy. And this year has been very, very disappointing. He hasn't really taken that leap that everyone expected him to. Knicks fans have kind of been turning against RJ a little bit. The conversation coming into this year was all-star. And now we're just looking at him like, can you just be consistently solid at least? It's been very disappointing for RJ Barrett out there, and I'm gonna say now, if this is kind of a joke, but if RJ doesn't get his stuff right, Josh Hart, I feel like Tom Thibodeau has no problem with putting Josh Hart over there, playing him more minutes than RJ, because he's just been very inconsistent and he's kind of feel like regressed a little bit. Like last year, he was taking the steps towards like, oh, okay, this dude could actually be consistent. This dude could be actually very good. Maybe be the #1 coming in next year. But now he's just kind of back to, he's number 3 now. He's number 3 behind Randall and Brunson. So hopefully RJ can right the ship at some point. But for Brooklyn, Spencer Dinwiddie had 28 points. But then after that, Cam Johnson had 14, Nick Claxton had 11. Everyone else really struggled to score in this game. Mikal Bridges has 7 points, shooting 2 for 8. And also, cool thing about Mikal Bridges, if you don't know, he had The he has the record, well, the current record at least, for the most consecutive games played. He's at 367 now after yesterday's game. He's never missed a game in the NBA. He's never even missed a game in college at that point at Villanova. But yeah, there's some things going on that they kind of snapped the streak because a few days ago, after he was traded from Phoenix to Brooklyn, there's a game that had to sit out because that was his first day getting to Brooklyn. He had to sit out a game against the Bulls, and he was in the stands. But then the NBA looked back at it and they didn't count the game, so his streak is still alive because he wasn't even eligible to play in that game against Chicago. So how can you play in a game that you're not even eligible to play? So yeah, Mikal Bridges' consecutive game streak is still alive. Still hasn't missed a game in his career, and hopefully that keeps going because that's a great feat, especially nowadays. You don't see feats like that anymore. So yeah, cool little thing for Mikal. Next game was the Magic against the Bulls, and the Magic were really in control throughout this entire game, led by four at the end of the first, one and a half time, with a 5 point lead. When it's the third quarter, and we're still kind of in the lead, maybe taking a little bit of a double-digit lead. They're up at 13 at one point in the third quarter. Let me get to the fourth quarter, and Paolo hit a layup to go up 13 with 5 minutes left for Orlando. And from that point on, the Bulls going a little 10-2 run, make it a 5 point game. But then the Magic closed the game out 1-0. Carter, Markelle Fultz, and Paolo closing the game out, and the Magic win 100-91. The Magic just were in control really in this entire game. And then there's a little moment where it looked like the Bulls are gonna make a little comeback, but then the Magic closed them out. The Magic shot 47% from the field. They forced 16 turnovers, had 24 assists. The Bulls 17 assists. Paolo had 22 points, shooting 8 for 18. He had 3 blocks in this game as well. Markelle Fultz played really nice. He was close to a triple-double, 18, 10, and 9. Franz Wagner had 18 points in this game, only missing one shot. And then Wendell Carter had 15 and 7. It was a good game from the starters because usually the last few games it's been the bench really for the Magic that's been kind of winning games for them. But today it was the starters. Almost all the starters scored in double figures, and the one that didn't, Gary Harris, had 8. But yeah, for Chicago, things are looking bad, man. Things look bad in Chicago. They shot 3 for 21 from 3. Vucevic hit one and Kobe White hit 2. That's it from 3 point range. They shot just 41% from the field. Zach LaVine had 26, shooting 9 for 20. DeRozan had 19, shooting 8 for 20. Vucevic had a 13-13 double-double. Kobe White had 12. Yeah, the Bulls are a horrible 3-point shooting team right now. They didn't make any moves at the deadline, which is very disappointing. They're 11th. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They're out of the play-in, only by a half game. But the Bulls just look bad, man. The Bulls really got to change some things, man. I mean, it's just bad. It's just not fun, really, watching the Bulls anymore. Like, last year was so fun watching DeRozan take over games and LaVine. But now it's just kind of like you're just going to watch a bad shooting team try to score their buckets in the mid-range. And it's just, it's not good. The Bulls aren't good. The Bulls need to make some changes because it sucks over there right now. Yeah, the next one, we had New Orleans, the Pelicans, and the Thunder. And this was really the Brandon Ingram show to start the game. Brandon Ingram had 20 first half points. He had 16 in the first quarter. The Pelicans got off to a really good start. They were by as many as 20 points in the second quarter. The Pelicans just looked like they came to play. B.I. was a big part of it, but also had contributions from, the others, like, Jonas Valanciunas, Trey Murphy, chip it in, and they go into halftime with a 9-point lead. Thunder do make it a little bit of a game in the second. Then we go up to the third quarter, and Thunder make this a game. Thunder make it a game. They cut the lead down to 1 at one point after Shea made it done with 2:46 left. The Pelicans going into the fourth quarter with a 3-point lead. Now, the Pelicans get off to a good start in the fourth quarter. They score the first 8 points to put them back up by 11. But then, of course, the Thunder, Isaiah Joe, Josh Giddey, and then Shea were really just keeping this game close, even though Jose Alvarado was hitting some clutch shots for New Orleans as well. They go down the last few minutes. Bi hits a tough fadeaway with 58 seconds left to put the Pelicans up 5. Shea comes down the other end, hits 2 free throws. A little bit while later, Thunder have a chance down 3. But then they lose the ball. Shea with a turnover. Trey Murphy hits 2 free throws. Jalen Williams hits a dunk quick though to make it a 3-point game. Coming on the other end, and Trey Murphy throws the ball out of bounds. And with 3 seconds left, the Thunder get a chance to tie. Isaiah Joe misses a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and the Pelicans sneak out with a 103-100 win over OKC. The Pelicans shot 53% from the field in this game, and it was really Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram finished with 34 points, shooting 14 for 24, a lot of mid-range buckets. So there's a stat the Pelicans are undefeated when he scores 30 or more, which has only been 3 or 4 times. But still, he's back and he's playing like Brandon Ingram again, which is fun to see. He was huge in this game. Mose Alvarado and Jonas Valanciunas each had 14. Trey Murphy had 12. Josh Richardson in his first game when New Orleans looked great. 10 points, 3 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks, shooting 50%. He missed all of his 3-pointers, but still, he looked really good. And I think he's going to be a very good pickup for the Pelicans. He's just a veteran player, plays both ends, hit threes, score, play really good defense. He's just a very nice role player for this Pelican team, and a veteran as well. I think he'll really help New Orleans. And New Orleans has been a lot better recently after going on an 11 or 12 game losing streak. They won their last few in a row. They've been better. They haven't won their last few in a row, but they've been a lot better. And now they're back up to 7th in the Western Conference. So that's really good. For OKC, Shea was the leading scorer. He had 24, 10, and 5. Jalen Williams had 22 and 7. Josh Giddey had 17, 7, and 4. Isaiah Joe had 16 off the bench. He had 4 3-pointers, but couldn't hit the one to tie the game. Next game, we had Minnesota and Dallas. The Timberwolves were in control of this game early. They led by 10 after the end of the first quarter, going to halftime with an 11-point lead. In the third quarter, they kind of blew the game open, winning the quarter by 7, going up by as many as 26 in the quarter. And it just looked like the Timberwolves were going to just sneak over to a win. Anthony Edwards had an amazing game. Rudy Gobert was very solid too. Even got some help from guys like James McDaniels and Kyle Anderson. But then we go into the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, Kyrie Irving decides to show up to the game. And he showed up in a big way. He scored 26 of his 36 points in the fourth quarter and brought the lead down to as many as 2 with 28 seconds left. He had a big 3-pointer. We come down the other end. Mike Conley hits a free throw. One of his 2 free throws to make it a 3-point game. Then the Mavericks on the other end. The last possession of the game is Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic passing the ball around to each other before Taurean Prince gets a tip in after Kyrie tries to make a pass inside 3-point line. And the Timberwolves get a 124-121 win in Dallas. It just looked really confusing the last play. Kyrie and Luka were both just passing the ball back and forth to each other, kind of like, you shoot it, no, you shoot it, no, you shoot it, you shoot it. And Minnesota plays amazing defense, especially to get that tip pass and not even let Dallas get a shot up in that game. But Minnesota, that's a great win for them. They shot 58% from the field in this game. Had 7 more assists, 3 more steals. Anthony Edwards had an amazing game, 32 and 5, shooting 12 for 22. Rudy Gobert had 21 and 14. He had made all 9 of his shots. Jaden McDaniels had 19 points. He only missed 1 shot in this game as well. Kyle Anderson had 12 and 9 assists. Mike Conley had 12 and 9 assists. Kyle Anderson had 12, 4 and 5. And Naz Reid even had 10 points in 12 minutes. Very good win for Minnesota. They've been a lot better recently. They're 8th in the Western Conference. And this is a big win for Dallas. For Minnesota over Dallas. But for Dallas, 0-2 now with Kyrie and Luka playing together. Kyrie had 36, 5, and 6. Didn't show up till the fourth quarter, but made it a game. Luka had 33, 12, and 6. Shooting 10 for 20. Christian Wood had 24 off the bench. But no one else. The shooters weren't really knocking down anything. Reggie Bullock went 2 for 5. Josh Green went 0 for 5 from 3. Theo Pinson was 2 for 5. Tim Hardaway Jr. didn't play in the game. And didn't really get any help from anybody else besides their best 3 players. Luka, Kyrie, Christian Wood. If the shooters could just knock down 1 or 2 more of those shots, they probably could have won this game. But the shooters weren't hitting. and it was up to Kyrie and Luca to try to win this game, and they couldn't. They couldn't get a shot up in the last minutes. But yeah, they went 0-2, but I mean it's whatever for right now. It doesn't really matter right now. People are gonna make a big deal out of it, but it doesn't really matter right now. I have to go like 1-5 or something, then maybe we can start talking. But right now it doesn't really matter. They're still trying to get into this chemistry and the swing of things. The next game we had the Lakers taking on the Portland Trailblazers, and it was Damian Lillard. It was the Damian Lillard show, really. Lakers get outscored 34-19 in the first. LeBron James still doesn't play in this game due to his foot injury. It was really just Damian Lillard taking over in this game. He had a nice shot to end the first quarter. Going in the second, Blazers outscore Portland. Blazers outscore the Lakers 31-27. They go into halftime with a about 19-point lead. Damian Lillard has 30 in the first half, tying his most points in a half. In his career, he had 8 threes in the first half. Portland was out 5 from 3 in this game. Really. Yeah, Portland just jumped on the Lakers early. Damian Lillard did. And they just Lakers couldn't really do anything about it. Anthony Davis had a good start to the first quarter, but after that, he was just kind of, Blazers were playing really good defense on him. And Portland ends up winning this game 127-115. The score looks closer than it actually was. But the Blazers really dominated this game. Damian Lillard finished with 40, 6 and 5, shooting 13 for 23, 8 for 14 from 3, man. When Damian Lillard gets hot, it's one of the best shows in the NBA. It really is. Like, when he gets hot, it's must-watch TV. He was amazing. Shaedon Sharpe at 15, 5 and 4 with 3 steals. He had a nice dunk as well in this game. Anthony Simons had 14. Matisse Thybulle in his first game as a Blazer, 14 and 6, 3 blocks. He had 4 3-pointers. He looked great out there. I was like, dang, Matisse. He had a nice corner block on Malik Beasley, really a 2K looking block. He looked like straight out of 2K how he blocked it. But yeah, Matisse was great. Nas Little had 11 off the bench. The Blazers hit 23 threes. They were one shy of tying their franchise record. They had only 7 turnovers, forced 13. They outsisted the Lakers. Yeah, they really just dominated this game. The Lakers, Malik Beasley was leading scorer with 22 points. He hit 6 threes, most of them coming in kind of garbage time, but he hit those. Anthony Davis had 19 and 20 with 3 blocks. Got off to a good start, but then just kind of faded out in this game. D'Angelo Russell had 16. Troy Brown Jr. had 13. Austin Reeves had 10. But yeah, the Lakers just couldn't really guard the Blazers. That's what it was. The Lakers couldn't guard Portland, and LeBron didn't play, and Portland took advantage. Damian Lillard took advantage. And then the final game of the night was the Wizards taking on the Warriors in Golden State. The Wizards got off to a good start, leading 39-29 at the end of the first. Bradley Beal was really good in the first quarter, so was Porzingis hitting some nice shots. But then, after a 10-point lead in the first, and the Wizards going up by 15 in the second quarter, the Warriors just put on an avalanche. Warriors score 42 points in the second quarter. It was really the bench helping them. Guys like DiVincenzo and Jonathan Kuminga. Klay Thompson also got in there, so did Andrew Wiggins. And the Warriors flipped the script and go up 5 going into the second half. The third quarter was really good. The Warriors did outscore the Wizards 35-27. Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole were big in the third quarter. Andrew Wiggins was great throughout the entire game. So was JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green was hitting some shots. And the Warriors go for 20 at one point. When the fourth quarter happens, the Wizards go on a little run. Start the fourth quarter. Danny Avdija, Daniel Gafford. I'm trying to bring this team back. In the last few minutes, it was getting close. The Wizards, Porzingis, Bradley Beal, even like Corey Kispert, Monte Morris hit some shots. But the Wizards, unfortunately, just don't have enough time. And the Warriors win 135-126. Andrew Wiggins needed a game like this. He's been very in and out of the lineup this entire year with some injuries and illnesses. Very kind of still trying to find his footing. But he finally had a game that he needed. 29 and 7, shooting 12 for 22, 3 for 6 from 3. He was amazing all over this game. Klay Thompson had 27 points in this game. Dante DiVincenzo has 17 off the bench, hitting 5 threes. Jordan Poole had 14. JaMychal Green had a great game as well, 14 points. Hit all 4 of his 3-pointers. And Kevon Looney had 13 and 13 in this game. The Warriors hit 23s in this game, shot 50%. They forced 17 turnovers. They had 40 assists to Washington's 26. The Warriors need a win. After their loss to the Lakers, they need, I think, a win to kind of get some morale back. And Andrew Wiggins really showed up in this game, so did the bench, which is what they needed. And what they need throughout the rest of the time that Curry's not going to be able to play. But yeah, for Washington, Bradley Beal had 33 points. Porzingis had 34 points. And that was really it. It was really those two. Kendrick Nunn had 13 in this game as well, but it was really just Beal and Porzingis without Kuzma, who's going to be out for some time with an ankle injury. But yeah, it's funny. It's all a thing. The Wizards have 3 players averaging 20 points per game, and yet they're still 10th in the East. That's funny to me. Or 9th in the East, sorry. 9th in the East. Which is funny to me for some reason. I don't know. It's just funny that 3 players averaging 20 and still are average. But yeah, now we're going into some more, the buyout market is still in full effect. We had a signing yesterday, Dwayne Dedmon, signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers wanted another backup big behind Joel. And Dedmon's been very solid. He's a very solid player for Miami this season. Was traded at the trade deadline to San Antonio, and San Antonio bought him out. So now he's going to Philly, where he used to play. He used to play in Philly before. And now he's back there as another body, I guess, behind Joel. We also had another one that kind of just happened very quickly. Justin Holiday was bought out by the Houston Rockets and went to the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks struck out on Terrence Ross, so they wanted Justin Holiday. Brian Windhorst reported that he was at the top of the Mavericks targets on the buyout market. And yeah, Justin Holiday hasn't really gotten a lot of time this year in Atlanta. But I mean, he's a very solid 3-and-D, especially 3. He's gonna chuck up some threes, which is what the Mavericks need on that team. So he's gonna fit in well, and I think he's gonna be very good for Dallas. Just another big body as well. 6'6", 6'7" with length out there they could put out there. That can knock down some threes and play some solid defense. So yeah, great move from Dallas. Other things that didn't happen, but are monitoring the Heat. Are monitoring some players. Serge Ibaka has mutual interest with the Miami Heat. The Heat traded Dwayne Dedmon, so I guess they want another backup big. Ibaka was traded at the trade deadline to the Pacers and then waived by Indiana after him and the Bucks kind of had a falling out. And so yeah, him going to Miami, I can see him in Miami. I think he's a Miami type of player. He's your backup big. He's older now, so he can't do a lot of things he used to do, but he can still maybe give you some decent minutes. And then the Heat also monitoring Russell Westbrook. They've had internal discussions on bringing in Westbrook if he gets bought out from Utah, which is a big if, because no buyout has happened yet. He hasn't even been into games, I think, unless I'm mistaken. I don't know. I don't remember, but yeah. So we're gonna see if Westbrook does get bought out. If he does, I'm saying the Miami Heat, man. I can see him in Miami. I think he could fit that culture in Miami. Yeah, the last thing we're gonna talk about just some standings and some things going on around the league in terms of positioning and stuff like that. And I was more thinking about the top of the East, because the top of the Eastern Conference is amazing. I mean, look at the top in the East. The Boston Celtics are the best team in the league, 41-16. They're on a 4-game winning streak. The Bucks are 39-17 on a 10-game winning streak. They're second in the East. They've really been rolling ever since Giannis and Chris Middleton came back. And then the Sixers are 37-19, third in the East. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've been playing very good as of recently. And the Cavaliers are 38-22 on a 7-game winning streak, fourth in the East. They've been very hot recently. And the Cavs are now 3.5 games above Brooklyn for that 5th seed. Yeah, the top of the East is amazing. I mean, look at the top of the East. All 4 of those teams are very good. We have a few title contenders. I don't know if we want to call Cleveland a title contender yet. I think they're just out of that range of title contender, but they're still very good. But yeah, I'm very excited for the Eastern Conference playoffs. I know it's a long way away and a lot of things can happen, but that's more at the bottom. I feel like the top of the East is kind of secured. I feel like the top four, this is probably going to be the top four for the rest of the year. And if something does change, I'll be kind of surprised by it. It only can happen if one of these teams like Cleveland or Philly go on like a 8, 6, 7 game losing streak, and like the Heat or the Knicks get hot the second half of the season. But yeah, the top four in the East is kind of secure. It's more about place where these top four are going to be placed in the top four. But I feel like the top four is pretty secure for right now. Again, unless something crazy happens. But I mean, the top four of the East, the top of the East has been great all season, and they're going to be great in the playoffs. And the playoffs are going to be a dogfight, especially that second round. And conference finals is going to be a dogfight because I mean, these teams going at each other. I mean, a Celtic and Buck series again would just be phenomenal. Even like the Bucks and we never got a Bucks and Sixers series as well. And this, which is very interesting that we haven't seen Giannis and Joel go up against each other in the playoffs before. I feel like that would be very entertaining. Even Cleveland, like even though Cleveland's the youngest out of these teams, and again still not maybe a title contender yet, Cleveland could put up a great fight against. Right now they play Boston in the second round, and they've already beat Boston a few times this season on TV. So you never know. Maybe Cleveland give them a run. I wouldn't pick Cleveland to win that series, but I think Cleveland will give them a run. But yeah, the top of the Eastern Conference has been amazing. All these teams are just built well. You know, the Celtics coming off a finals run, then they pick up a guy like Malcolm Brogdon. You know, incorporating him into the team. Derek White has been very good. Tatum and Brown have taken more leaps. You know, even without Robert Williams for a lot of the year, to be able to kind of still be great without him. It's just the Celtics have been amazing this season, and they're built well. All the things going against them, you know, the coaching situation that happened, Robert Williams being hurt, a lot of injuries, especially recently. They're still the top of the NBA. So you got to give a lot of credit to Boston and then Milwaukee. I mean, they've been here before for the last few years. They won a championship. They know what it is. And yeah, after going on a little bit of a middling run, um, last month and a little bit before that, Giannis and Chris Middleton has come back, and Drew Holiday is an all-star again. Brook Lopez is playing great, and now they finally make the trade for Jay Crowder. I don't know when he's gonna play. When he plays, he's gonna be a good addition to this team. And the Bucks are just the ultimate professionals. You know, they come in, they know what they got to do, they know what they have to do to win, and they do it. And they're getting hot at the right time on a 10-game winning streak, and they're gonna be a tough out for anybody in these playoffs. And then the Sixers, you know, a lot of expectations coming in this year with James Harden in the best shape that he's been in a while, and his new attitude of James Harden, Joel trying to prove something. James Harden coming out and saying this is the best team I've had to win a championship ever in my career. Uh, and they've been playing very good recently. They're a very good team, but the playoffs are going to be very telling of this team. The playoffs are going to make or break this team. Really, the regular season doesn't really matter anymore for Philly. You know, it's more about that playoff success and what can you do in the playoffs for me. Can they get to a conference finals? Maybe even an NBA finals. And right now, they probably have to go through Milwaukee to get to the conference finals, which is a very, very tough matchup. Very, very tough matchup. I personally would pick Milwaukee, but I think Philly has a good shot. I mean, Joel's playing like an MVP candidate right now. James Harden is playing very well, finding his role. Tyrese Maxey's still a little bit of a wild card, but he can definitely affect the game very quickly. And then Cleveland. I mean, Donovan Mitchell has turned into a superstar. In Cleveland, Darius Garland's still having a good year. Evan Mobley's taking a jump. Jared Allen is still playing like Jared Allen. Their depth is not as good as the other three teams I've mentioned. And they're the youngest out of all the three teams we mentioned. But they still play very good basketball, especially on the defensive end. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. Which, if you're like that, you can take some games just because their defense is so good. And then they have Donovan Mitchell that can light up. And you know, playoff Donovan Mitchell is a different monster. So yeah, the top four in the East are just elite. And they're very good. And I'm very excited to see what they do. And then you look at the Western Conference, and it's really the at 4 through what 12 are all like Portland is 12, and they're 2.5 games behind the 4 seed, the Suns. Like it's insane. It's insanity. This second half of the year is going to be very important for all these Western Conference teams. I think maybe except for like Denver and Memphis, none of these Western Conference teams could take games off. Well, the Spurs and Rockets, but the Spurs and Rockets don't want to win. But yeah, like 3 through 13, all those teams can't really take days off. They have to come in and really, really show out and really win, put together some wins. Because if you don't, then you could fall very quick. The Suns can lose their next 2 games in a row and be down in 9 and 10. And we look at the Suns completely differently. But I love it. The Western Conference is so unpredictable. You never know what's gonna happen. We still have a lot of time before playoff spots are secured. Um, so I'm just waiting to see what Western Conference teams come out of this in the play-in. And you know the Western Conference first round is going to be very good this year. I mean, the Grizzlies could potentially, as a December 2 seed, have to go up against the Warriors or like the Clippers. Like, no one is safe in the West. Even if you're number 2, number 3, maybe number 1, the Nuggets, like, you're not safe. You're probably going to have to go up against a really good team in the first round. Especially those 3, 6, 4, 5 matchups are going to be very tough because those teams are fighting right now for those spots. So, whoever those 2 teams end up being, that's going to be an amazing series. Right now it'd be Suns and Mavericks, which wouldn't that be interesting, huh? Um, but yeah, NBA is looking very good right now. The standings are very close, especially in the West. I'm very excited to see how it plays out. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.